So just like we built this awesome AI, this network of AI agents that are able to solve the most challenging problems in agriculture, as folks were starting to use this, we decided, wait, what if we took the exact same approach, this AI that was very knowledgeable in all of these different workflows, and we trained it specifically on using our platform itself. So just like in chat, it can help you route through the most complicated regulations, the most complicated research, the most complicated financial analyses. Just like the chat can help you with this, we created another AI system to help people use the platform itself. This AI, everyone's kind of has those chatbots that pop up in the corner window that say, how can I help you, right? And sometimes they're all right. Most of the time, they're not that great, right? Well, on our platform, you can ask Farmer Al, the AI that's available to help you navigate the platform. You can ask it questions like, what can I use the map page for? But the more powerful thing is you can actually ask it to do things. One of the first places we started when building FarmMind was with a chat, a virtual assistant that could answer your hardest questions in agriculture. You see, when this entire thing started, it started as a research project at LSU in collaboration with the Ag Center. And where this all started was to see, can we make all of these dense Ag Center documents applicable and easily accessible by farmers, by consultants everywhere, rather than having to spend a ton of time looking through all this documentation. Well, very soon that grew. The expanse grew. We're like, ooh, what if we put all the EPA labels in? What if we put all the ag journals in? What if we put all this and all this? And it turns out we made a really revolutionary and innovative agricultural intelligence engine that's able to turn all this information into actionable insights. And so Aaron joined us today to talk about our chat feature that can take all the sea of information and funnel it into the exact intelligence that you need to answer your question in everyday farming. So there's two different.
What's going on, Colin?
Yeah, hey. So there's basically two different ways, like everything on the platform, that you can access the chat feature, right? One way, you hit the giant chat button, and then congratulations, give it location access, you have chat.
How do I do that?
What do you mean?
How do I give it location?
Oh, you just say yes.
No, like, down here.
Oh, yeah. So, well, one, there's kind of two different ways. So right now with location, it literally knows that we're at our office. Like it knows super fine-tuned. However, what this location is you can say which kind of data set you want it using. So right now we have 3 data sets: Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, and other, right? So the Louisiana, Mississippi, and Tennessee are very fine-tuned to what their extension are publishing. And the rest of them, we're adding new states every single month of what their extension services are putting out. The other's still pretty good. Like you can use it nationwide. It's just for Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee,
we're dialed in
really
on Louisiana. Yeah, we're dialed in on Louisiana,
definitely.
Mississippi, Tennessee.
But like you can see right now it's on Louisiana. That's because it already, when I gave it location access, it's like, oh, you're in Louisiana. Let's talk about Louisiana.
Sweet.
But even if you're in Louisiana, but you want to manage some fields in Mississippi or Tennessee, you can just manually set it so that it's doing, Mississippi information.
Or if you're just a resident of Mississippi, it's going to have your location.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And the other way, let's just say you don't even want to touch that, you can use the navigator and literally just ask it a question, right? So let's just say if you ask it one of these questions here, it's going to figure out, oh, this is a thing that we need the chat for, and it is going to route you to the chat. I'm going to give it a location access, and it's going to put in this question. We were messing around with this right before this conversation, and can you explain kind of this question and why it's an important question?
Yeah, so this is actually a question that was brought to my attention the other day. It was how you have this field and we're ripening the crop right now. Mm-hmm. Well, this cane on the side has already been cut. Mm-hmm. Well, no, it wasn't already cut. It was standing, but got ripener drift on it. We cut the cane, and now the cane has ripener drift from the block across the field. Mm-hmm. Now it seems like the cane isn't coming back as strong, and I wanted to see if that was going to affect the cane in retuning in the next spring. So it's pretty. I mean, I'm not the expert here, but we're going to try to see if this can answer it.
You're as close to an expert as we got here. But yeah, that's the even no matter how much of an expert you are, there's only so much you can memorize. There's only so much you can know at any one time. Yeah. And so the whole idea is we have a couple different models that can be used.
This is just a tool for the consultant if he's ever doubting himself.
Exactly. Yeah. Just like a label is a tool for you to be able to know that legal information, this is just a faster way to get that information. But even as questions as involved in this, you can use what we call our agricultural core model to basically have a little researcher just go out and do all that research for you, right?
And why this looks kind of like ChatGPT-ish, like why is this different in a way?
Yeah, so that could get really technical really quick.
Yeah.
But in short, ChatGPT, you can kind of think of it as one person that's memorized everything on the internet, right? And so it has this kind of idea of a lot of different things, but it's not really good at any one thing. And so when you ask it a question, it's able to kind of go through all this information and just kind of pull it, but it's more of a generalist, right? It might give you some general information and such. It's not really tailored for the information that the agricultural industry needs. And we can bring up some examples comparing, some other chatbots to this. But time and time again, every single benchmark we've done has shown that for agricultural questions, this is in a league of its own as far as accuracy, precision, and overall usefulness. We have a couple different models. So this question is really involved. So this is a perfect question for our agricultural core model. It's like a generalist, right? It's literally, imagine you have that researcher. Imagine you have a team of researchers, right? So what the agricultural core model is it's what we call, it taps into our agricultural intelligence engine, which is a network of AI agents, right? That's a lot of words basically to say, imagine you have a whole bunch of different experts sitting around a table.
Yeah, that's how I'm kind of picturing it. And being like the Oval Office, and you have all your different experts on one subject, and it's basically just pulling from each expert.
You have your expert on safety, you have your expert on regulations, you have your expert on all the LSU extension information, you have your expert on all the EPA-approved pesticide and herbicide labels. You have all these different experts, and you're throwing down a question, and these experts are debating and helping each other to get to the right answer. So it might take a little while. If users of ChatGPT Deep Research, people are now a little bit familiar of AI is taking a little bit to get back to you. So it might take, and the harder the question, the longer it'll take to get back to you, because it's going out, doing all this research, and then bringing it together into what the best information is.
If it's thinking like this, do I have to just stay right here and let it think the whole time?
Nope, you can go off of it. So, and you'll see when we run this question, we'll go and do some other things. But you can just set it, let it run. In a future update, you'll get a notification when it's ready, or when you just come back to the chat page, it'll let you know when it's ready. So there's a couple other models that people should be aware of. We have our agricultural core, which we're going to use for this very involved question.
Is this your standard model?
This is the standard.
What y'all believe in, the standard?
Yeah, the agricultural core, it takes the longest to give an answer, but it's the most thorough, the most accurate, the most reliable model. However, we also have the pesticide model, which is it's an expert on all those EPA labels and your local extension services, right? So any question you have about label rates, things like that, we might ask you a question or two to go into the pesticide model. And then we have a couple beta models of stuff we're messing around with. And then, it's interesting, you see right here, Grant's custom chatbot, right? So this is Grant, our CTO. Now, if you go onto the app, anyone going on to see this, they're not going to see that model.
Really?
Only I see that model. Because what it is say you're a large organization, say you're a large agricultural research station or whatever, and you have specific information that you want included, we can include that information so that it can include that in its answers.
So new data.
Yes, new data. So let's just say you're
and that's the big thing about AI. It's only coming forth with what it knows at the time. But if you're giving it constantly, feeding the machine new data the whole time, it's going to incorporate that in your model.
Let's say in your consulting practice, there's only a certain set of things that you want to use. Right, crop scouting, right? Yeah. But scouting is part of consulting.
Yeah.
But if let's just say there's a certain degree of whether it's your old data or whether it is, hey, I only want to do XYZ recommendations, we can literally make a custom model for you so that it's answering with your company's, your practices information.
Really?
Yeah. So that's what that custom model is. So let's go ahead and run this. So this is complicated. How would the ripener drift affect cane that has just been cut in the process of restubbling before fall die-off? So we're going to go ahead and run that. And now you're going to see, so it is starting to talk to all these AI experts, right? So right now, you have your super expert that's making the plan of like, all right, who are we going to talk to first, right?
Yeah.
And then it's going to go off and just start asking all these experts questions. So right now it's going through a couple of just due diligence, like how am I going to do this? How am I going to get it done? Right now, as you can see, it's asking about some different labels and such. And so this is probably going to take, because it's a complicated question, this is probably going to take five minutes or so to get back with an answer. So in the meantime, let's go and have some other questions here. So
you want just a layup?
Yeah, let's do something pesticide model. In your practice, there's a lot of times where you don't just want, like, you might generally know what the answer is, but you want to check yourself, right? Make sure that what you're doing is correct, right? So like, what's an example of one of those questions that could come up?
For doing pesticide, give me the rate of Vandecor in sugarcane in Louisiana. Recommended rate.
Yeah.
And this is the pesticide model, right?
Yeah, so because we're asking about a very specific, we're asking about Vandecor, right? That's a specific pesticide. We're going to go ahead and use the pesticide model. You're going to see the result's going to be a lot faster.
Okay. That's cool how y'all integrated, a different think tank, I guess, to give you faster results.
Yeah, so the whole idea is the general model at AgCore, it has all these experts. What pesticide model does is it streamlines your answer to the one expert that you want to use. So for this, that expert knows all of the local extension information and the pesticide information. So all 16,000 EPA-approved pesticide and herbicide labels, even labels that no other system can find, we have in our system because we created, not to nerd out too much, but we created what's called a custom OCR pipeline. That's optical character recognition. All that means is, you've seen these labels a lot. You work with them every day. They are incredibly complex and dense.
Yeah,
right?
No one reads them.
Right, which is a problem because. So it just asked me a follow-up question here.
People read them. They
give
just
it some
don't want
information. Yeah. Well, they have to. It's the It's the law, right?
Just sucks.
So yeah, the nice part about some things AI is it can actually understand misspellings to a certain degree. And so this is actually a really good example. So I misspelled Vandecor, right?
Oh, really?
I butchered the spelling, and rather than just trying to guess, it asked me, hey, what do you actually need? What do you mean? I want you to clarify. So I might have even misspelled it again, but I changed that E to an A that was closer to the correct spelling, so it actually knew what I did. So if you're asking about a complex chemical or something, but you misspell it, and it could be two different things, it's going to clarify, hey, which one of these do you even want? And so here, super quick, it said the recommended rate is 1.2 to 2 fluid ounces per acre. Rates above 2 fluid ounces are not recommended.
So if I'm a consultant and you're saying this is the Louisiana pesticide model, where's the LSU data?
So our entire thesis here is we not only want to provide answers, but we want you to be able to check the answers, right?
Yeah.
Because look, everything, we want to give you a great tool to get you that information and show you that source of information. So we cite everything. So for example, you see this is Louisiana specific response. So that comes straight from LSU's labels. So if we click on
independent consultant.
Yeah, if we click on Louisiana insects and sugarcane PDF, which is straight from the LSU database, not only is it going to show you the document itself, but it's going to bring you to the exact page where that information is, right? So you can say this is page 68 of this document, right? So rather than having to go through all that, we can see right here for this table 1 stem bore Vandecor, 1.2 to 2.5 ounces with a application interval of 14 days, right? And so it's funny, the label's so smart. You see how this has a little asterisk and the rate's not recommended? Yeah. Well, it's able to see that asterisk and then say that the rates are not recommended. It was able to connect those dots really easily. So what's another, so that's an example of that. What's another, easy thing we should ask the pesticide model that might be helpful in your daily practice?
Let
me create a new chat here.
Should we do...
What's a helpful one to show for pesticide model? Yeah.
Should we go you want the pesticide model on the bees?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. So what's another another question that we can ask this pesticide model that comes from either the extension or the EPA labels that would be helpful in your daily practice?
The only EPA thing I'm thinking of right now would possibly be what herbicides... what insecticides do we use in Louisiana for soybean production that are harmful to bees?
For soybean production?
Soybean production,
Yep.
yeah. Let's see what it gives us.
Super quick, and we can go back. As you can see, this ripener drift, it's still doing some research here, so we'll let it think a little longer. Yeah, we'll let it think while we're doing this one. But this one generally will get you an answer in under 30 seconds because it's literally just constrained to all those things and trying to find that answer. So there we go, nice and easy. In Louisiana, several insecticides for soybean production are potentially harmful. These include pyrethroids, Lambda. You might have to read some of these out.
Lambda-cyhalothrin.
Warrior 2.
Gamma-cyhalothrin. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
A whole bunch.
Bifenthrin.
Yep. Commonly known as Brigade.
Yep.
Couple premixed products.
So it's giving you active ingredient and trade names.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's nice.
So the nice thing is this model's smart enough that it understands the science and the kind of cultural, right? So it knows kind of the slang that people call these things, but it also knows if you give it like a chemical, like it'll find that chemical. Now, so it was able to get that pretty easily. So basically any information you want to know from the labels or from your extension guidance, it can just give that to you. Now, if we go back to this question here, this ripener question, which was pretty intel, as you can see, it gave you a nice long answer with all these citations, right? So it really went out there, and
What's it say?
It tends to, so it gets all these and it'll expand, but it'll give you kind of the summary at the top. So it said, ripener drift from products like glyphosate or epithin onto sugarcane that has just been cut and is restubbling can cause significant injury and potentially reduce stand vigor and yield.
Yeah.
The risk is especially high because young, actively regrowing shots are highly sensitive to these chemicals, even at low doses. And then it goes on and talks about different effects from glyphosate and both of them, the research guidance, the regulatory and safety information, the best management practices, etc.
And I guess a question like that, it's kind of a loaded question because it matters. It matters how long the drift was out there, how much the drift was out there. I mean, it's a little bit of a loaded question. So I feel like that's a good consultant question because that's, you need professionals to answer hard questions, and that's when we lean on the consultant. So this is basically just the tool that they can have in their back pocket, is what I'm thinking.
Absolutely, and like as you're asking these questions, every single field that you've created in the system, you could select a field and then ask a question specifically about a field in that area, right? So if we have a field in Point Coupé, if we have a field in Plaquemine, no matter where the field is, you could ask a question about that specific area. You could say, well, why does the area really matter? Well, especially for regulatory information, right? Okay. So let's just say we created a field in Point Coupé and we selected that field in Point Coupé. Then, in fact, let's see. You can always Point Coupé. Where are you? Yeah, here we go. Test Louisiana restrictions in Point Coupé. So if we go back here into our chat model, and let's select the field that I created to test Point Coupé things, right? So test restrictions in Point Coupé. This is just an arbitrary field in Point Coupé, right? And I'm just going to go ahead and ask a simple question. Can I use 3 CPA in my field, right? Super simple. Not a lot of information there, right? But very easy to get wrong because a lot of people do use 3 CPA for different applications. But this is one that frequently came up in some of our testing that people got a good bit of value out of because the model also knows all of these regulations, right? All right, so this, because it was such a short question, it actually has a follow-up, right? Okay. So it says, thank you for your question in Point Coupé. To provide the most accurate and safe recommendations, can you please clarify what you mean by 3 CPA? There are several agricultural products and plant growth regulators with similar names. 3 yada yada, 3 yada yada, 3 yada yada, right?
So I wonder if it's PICS, like for cotton. 3 CPA, it's a growth regulator. Mm-hmm. They put it on in cotton.
So I think it is this 3-chloroploric 3-oacetic acid. Let's check for these two. Let's just say, what about for these? And we'll ask for those two, right? And so what this is really cool that a lot of people like is, often if you just ask a question, if it doesn't have enough information, we don't want it just guessing at an answer.
Yeah.
What we want is for it to ask, well, I can't answer that, but here, give me the information I need to answer, right? And so we really like, and we've seen a lot of people really enjoy the fact that if you put in just like a brief, simple question, obviously we highly encourage people to put in very detailed questions. In fact, the more detailed your question, the better the answer. But even if you forget to include something in your question, it will try to recognize, okay, what information can you give me for me to give you an even better answer?
Okay.
But yeah, as it's loading, it's interesting. You can see every single agent like as it's giving its answer and some of the sub answers and such that it's contributing.
Farmer Al's working.
Oh yeah, and while this
is that what we're calling?
Yeah, Farmer Al.
Farmer Al. So it's
Farmer
not
Al.
Farmer AI. It's Farmer Al.
Whatever people want to call it.
All right.
Yeah. And real quick, while this is doing, I think it is useful to say, definitely the more quality you put into the question, the better quality you'll get out, right? So providing as many details as possible, being as specific as possible, is all ways that you can get the best possible use of the model.
Okay.
So yeah, we heavily encourage that. The more you can be specific in your question, the more we can be specific in the answer. So while this is loading, right?
Yeah.
While this is loading, you don't have to.
We've been
right. So like you can just go off and let's just say you want to.
We've been here for 3 minutes.
Yeah. Let's say you want to do anything
else.
It's
a lot of data.
You want to see a visualization. You want to go and mess with your fields, right? You can go off and do anything else. You can go check TikTok if you want.
Yeah. If I get a phone call, I can just leave that. And
when you come back, it's just going to say, hey, we're currently working on that for you, right? And so you can just go off, do whatever, and it's just going to go off and work on that for you. So, we can do whatever. If we want, we can read the latest blog from FarmSmarter, like how FarmSmarter was selected the top 10 semifinalist in the 2026 Ag Innovation Challenge.
So what happens if we win this?
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Stay posted.
So what happens? Come on, give us
it'd be cool. But, we don't have enough wood to knock on around here for me to speculate about that.
Just trying to get something out of him there.
No. So you see, if we come back, it's done with that question, and it's right here. And so, based on current federal and Louisiana state regulations, you cannot legally use 3 CPA or related compounds in your field in Point Coupee Parish. Here's why. State-specific prohibition. Louisiana law specifically prohibits the application of 3 CPA by commercial applicators in Point Coupee from April 1st to September 15th each year. Right? So if you were in East Baton Rouge or another parish, it might be allowed. But it was able to find the specific Title VII law, right? Title VII, Part XXIII, Section 1103, that would be very easy for someone to miss. I might just miss that, but it was able to find that. And so rather than saying how to apply it, it was able to say, whoa, you can't do that in this specific time zone.
In today's day and age with technology how it is, you need to be legal.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of other chat bots out there where if you ask that, it might say, yeah, you can. Here's how you do it, right? Just because it doesn't have the specific expertise in all things ag that this model does. One of the agents is literally a safety agent that is an expert in all of the safety information and regulatory information. Now, we're not saying it's 100% at all. That's why we're very clear. We want people to check this. We provide the citations. Like, it might sometimes get a question wrong, but so far, it's been the most reliable for agricultural questions that is out there. And you can see all this information out there. In fact, it cites a couple legal documents. So for example, one of what it cites is Louisiana Administrative Code, Title VII, where you can see 3 CPA right here is one of the restricted pesticides. And then in Point Coupee Parish, right here, one of the parishes that are listed, it says, shall not be applied by commercial applicators between April 1st and September 15th. Right?
That's great.
Super easy to miss.
And that could have took you, 20, 30 minutes, not knowing where to go. All you do is just type it in right here and you find it right then.
Even though the Ag Corps...
Simple labels like that the common person might not know.
Even though it might take 3 to 5 minutes, that's way faster than the 30 minutes, hour, or more that you might spend spinning. Or the lawsuit, right? If you mess something up, better wait 3 to 5 minutes than have someone sue you. You know?
Definitely.
So we really think this chat is a really powerful tool, and especially when people play around with it and know when to use pesticide model versus the agricultural core model. We're continually updating and making this even better. We're expanding the states. And we think it's a really powerful informational tool to get crop consultants and growers alike really great information.
I think this could be, in my eyes at least, this is a pretty foolproof tool right here.
Yeah, we just want it to be helpful.
Yeah.
So that's our chat model. Oh, we forgot to export.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, let's say.
Yeah, we're not at the right one.
That's fine. We can do it for anyone.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Colin, if I wanted to, you see, like, these instructions here, this label, if I wanted to possibly get one of these links from here, or just the whole, I guess, dialogue that it came up with, can you just send this straight to me?
Yep.
Like if I need to send this to a grower, to a friend, to a lawyer, anything.
Yeah, so you can go into other tools, hit export chat to PDF, get your entire export, and then right there it'll just produce a PDF document with, come on, my computer's being a little slow here, but it'll just give you, it'll show you what the question was, it'll show you what the response was, with all of the citations that contributed to that response. So just like we built this awesome AI, this network of AI agents that are able to solve the most challenging problems in agriculture, as folks were starting to use this, we decided, wait, what if we took the exact same approach, this AI that was very knowledgeable in all of these different workflows, and we trained it specifically on using our platform itself. So just like in chat, it can help you route through the most complicated regulations, the most complicated research, the most complicated financial analyses. Just like the chat can help you with this, we created another AI system to help people use the platform itself. This AI, everyone's kind of has those chat bots that pop up in the corner window that say, how can I help you, right? And sometimes they're all right. Most of the time, they're not that great, right? Well, on our platform, you can ask Farmer Al, the AI that's available to help you navigate the platform. You can ask it questions like, what can I use the map page for? But the more powerful thing is you can actually ask it to do things. And so joining me is going to be Grant Muslow talking about Farmer Al, the AI that can help you do all work on the platform. One of the unique parts about the FarmMind platform is that every single part of the platform is integrated into our core agricultural intelligence agent. And the way that we've implemented this into the system not only is unlike any other piece of agricultural software, but frankly, it's unlike any other website. And we're super excited to show you what it can do. So here we're here with Grant Muslow, CTO of FarmMind, to show you this awesome system that we've integrated into the platform.
Hey guys, I'm super excited to show you all what we've been working on for the past couple of months to integrate every single part of our system with each other with the power of artificial intelligence. And we have been working and getting all of this different stuff together and blah, 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 blah. And I'd really like to show y'all what we've been able to come up with.
Yeah, let's see some examples.
So if you log on to the farmsmart.ai platform, what you'll notice is this big blue button right here that says AI or AL, depending on how you look at it. If you click it, you will pop up with this dialogue right here, and you can just allow location and eventually microphone access as well, so that you can utilize this new piece of software to its fullest extent. And what this pop-up basically is, you can click it at any time and ask it any question about the platform. So you can start by saying something like, hello, be a little nice to it. I am new here. What is there to offer?
So at this point, it's kind of like, there's a lot of these little chatbots that pop up. But the idea is it can give really specific information about this platform.
And you can see right here, it kind of gives you a little tutorial about the farmsmarter.ai platform. So now you no longer have to click this help button in order to get the tutorial. Now you can literally ask our system any question that you have about the platform.
Choose your own adventure.
And choose your own adventure. And it's really cool. But that's not really the coolest thing that it can do. While it knows everything about every little detail of all of our different components of our platform, what it really can do is that it can take actions and guide you to actually do whatever you want to do on the platform. So for instance, let's say, this data visualization thing seems pretty cool. So let's say, take me to data visualizer. It seems pretty cool.
So you're asking it to do something for you.
Yeah, I'm asking
literally
it to
like
do
an
something.
assistant. Like, hey,
Yeah.
show me this.
And whoa!
Yeah.
It just brought us automatically here.
Yeah.
Wasn't that cool? And it gives you a little bit of extra stuff right here. Great choice. And then you could see that it took an action to navigate somewhere.
Yep.
Now, that's not, it can't just navigate like that. It can also do a whole bunch of other stuff, such as searching through your field notes, your dashboards, your maps, updating your field notes, and it can literally like change some tags that are attached to maps, which is really cool. Let me show you something right here. Let's create a new
Yeah,
chat.
like how would a crop consultant use this to, rather than going and clicking through, how would they use this?
So we can ask Cole, but what he did, we tested it the other day in the field. And Cole literally was able to talk directly into this microphone right here. And while he was in the field, he had mapped out the field, and he literally told it, hey, for this field, I want to apply paraquat at blah, 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 this rate, and say this as a field note. So what it did was it took its current location. That's why it popped up with that current location earlier. It took his current location, mapped his current location to the nearest field, and then added a field note for whatever he said for that field, all in one.
What that would look like?
Yeah, so he can say something like, I don't think I have location settings on right now, but if I say something like, for my sugarcane fields, make a field note that I should take a look at them more carefully.
So you've already gone in and you have all these fields, and some of them are sugarcane fields. So if this operates correctly, it'll take all the sugarcane fields and it'll append a note to them saying that you need to look at them more carefully.
And that's exactly what it just did. It popped up all of my different sugarcane fields right here, and then had an AI response just from me typing it in.
And so if you're a crop consultant that literally manages thousands of fields, or you're just a big farmer, like doing this manually, you'd have to go through every single field and check it and like add this note and like create the group. Whereas instead, you literally just in like 5 seconds just asked it to do it, and it did.
Exactly. You can just talk into your phone while you're in the field, and it'll do it.
Or even in the office, yeah.
Or in the office, wherever you are. There's no more trying to figure out how to use this or how to use that. You just tell it to do things, and it does it. Once it has this initial information about your fields, then it's able to do all loads of different types of things.
In a sense, it's a meta expert, right? So we built this platform that's all these different agricultural experts to help you solve problems. But this expert knows how to use all those experts. So you can just say, hey, I want to change my tags. I want to make a field note. I want to do a visualization. And it can literally just go out and either show you how to do that or just do it for you on the platform.
Exactly. So I want to show off one more thing here is our search functionality. When Cole was in the field, when he made that field note exactly how I just made it, he said that he needed to apply bifenthrin.
Yep.
Yes, and that's a pesticide. So what if we wanted to search through all of my notes for any pesticides mentioned and relay them to me?
So this is interesting because, before you submit this, in his note, he actually didn't mention the word pesticide at all.
No, he did not.
He just said bifenthrin and all the other pesticides that he was using, but you're just asking for pesticides. So it would have to understand that these things that he actually put in were pesticides.
Exactly. So it found a whole bunch of different field notes, and look at that. Bifenthrin right here with the acreage, and then I made another note. I made another note as well about copper-2 fungicide, and it was able to pull that no pesticide, no word pesticide anywhere, and it was able to pull that information, understand it, and then relay it back to me.
Wow. So if you're doing anything where you want to see what you used to do in the past years, or if you need to get a gap analysis done, or anything where you not only need to find information, you usually want to be connected to the information you already have about your field, rather than spending hours looking through it, you can literally just ask.
Exactly. It will search exactly what you ask for in the exact correct format. And then all you have to do, just like you just saw, you just click on the node and it's there.
Yeah. Wow. And so if you are, what if you ask this navigator a question about, what pesticide to use? Like, what's it going to do?
That's a great question. Let's see. What it should do is take us directly to our chat page that has access to all 16,000 EPA approved pesticide labels, regulation info, ag center information, and this entire agentic network of AI experts that are trained to answer questions just like that. So let's say I have a problem with dicamba drift. How do I solve it? And you can just ask this question just like that, and what it will do, it will take you to the chat page
there you go.
with our agriculture core model.
Yep.
And we'll
routing you
populate
to
it.
that expert.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And all you would have to do is click this, and bada
Get
bing,
your
bada
answer.
boom.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so if someone's watching this and they're worried, they're like, if we can do all these things on the platform, well, how do I know it's not going to do something wrong? Can we maybe see like an example of changing tags on fields to
Sure.
see how like the user's still in control of everything?
100%. So let's say I want to change my soybean fields from V1 to V3. Okay. And load for a little bit, and what it'll do, this is a an
There we go.
update change. So while I don't have any of my fields for
Right.
soybean in V1 right now, what we have to do is we literally have to click Save Changes and verify that this is going on before it will take into effect. So anything with write access, such as creating field notes or managing tags or deploying a chat, has to be initiated by the user.
Yeah.
So that if the AI does make mistakes, because AI does make mistakes sometimes, it is ultimately up to you whether you want to keep that or not. And if this is not what we want, all you do is close, don't save, don't care.
Kind of sounds like hiring a little intern, right?
Exactly.
Like, that intern isn't
Exactly.
going to go and write a check for you. It's not going to go and do this. What they're going to do is go and set everything up and then come to you, the boss, and say, hey, can I pull the trigger? Can I do this? And you're going to review it and say, looks good. Or you're going to say, that's not right. Send it back, go try again. And you can effectively use this navigator, this model, as your intern for all things using FarmMind.
Yep, exactly.
Wow. And so the whole idea is that, this should make the platform incredibly easy to use, right? Because gone are the days where you have to watch an hour-long tutorial about how to use the platform.
It's all
it
right
might be
here.
useful, but you can also just ask.
It is all just a button press away.
You literally have an expert in how to use the platform just right there that you can talk to. And so what if I'm using this and I still have a question? Is it able to tell us how to find more help? How to get connected with the team?
Well, that is a good question. Let us ask, how do I get in contact with the team? Whoops. Here we go. Then it will...
I'm also amazed how fast it is. Like, we're not speeding this up at all. It's all doing this, in live.
While it doesn't have access to this information just yet, what you can do is press this help button right here and click this contact. And then right here, you're just able to type in whatever information that you want from us. We will get back to you right away.
Two kind of takeaways from that. One, we should probably teach it.
Probably.
The entire thing, we were teaching it all these skills, so we should teach it that skill. But two, I think that's really valuable because if you notice, it didn't just make something up, right? It didn't make up a support email. It said, I don't know. I think that's super valuable, in the agricultural industry when there are literally millions of dollars on the line, when your processes are important, having something that's willing to say, hey, I don't know, is incredibly valuable since everyone's heard a horror story of AIs hallucinating and just making stuff up. And so having it kind of grounded in what it is able to do and what it's not able to do, hopefully keeps it all in check, right? So when you ask it a question of what it can do, it goes off and it does it for you. But if it can, it'll just say, look, I don't know. And then you can go and rather than just making up something false. I think that in itself is incredibly valuable.
And we've specifically trained it to do so and not make up information if it doesn't have it, which is great.
Yeah.
Which is great.
And I mean, I'm just amazed that like every website doesn't have this. Like it just seems, but it's part of what, when we're innovating this agricultural intelligence engine, because everything on the platform natively integrates, we were able to do this in a way that other legacy platforms just physically aren't able to do.
That's right. Well, we had to invent a couple things to make that happen along the way, but we were super excited to get this technology in the hands of agricultural professionals and farmers, big and small, and all sorts of agronomists and consultants.
Part of the powerful thing about our agentic network for agriculture is the fact that it has access to all of this phenomenal information, everything from elevation to weather, NDVI data, and more. But we realize that sometimes people just want to see that data. People just want to check it. They want to check what it has been and what is predicted to be, and they want to share that data with other people. That's why within the platform, we created a really seamless way to visualize all different types of data, whether it's existing data, like that weather and NDVI data, or whether it's data that you yourself put in as the user, everything from soil tests to field notes and more, you can visualize it all seamlessly with FarmMind. Another powerful component of the FarmMind platform is our visualizer. You know, the cool part about AI is no longer does the exact data structure matter. We can turn all sorts of different types of unstructured data and just different forms of data into something that actually makes sense and that you can gather insights from. You know, it's really cool. Most agricultural professionals, there's effectively two types of information that's super important. Time data, right? So when did something happen? And spatial data, right? Where did something happen? And then people also care about the combination of both, right? So is there a location that happened at this time and then over a lot of time? And we were able to build this visualizer that's able to take any sort of format of time or spatial data, whether that's IoT sensors, field notes, soil tests, all of that, and turn it into something that not only can you understand, but that our system can understand and advise you on. So we're here with Grant Muslow, CTO, to talk about the visualizer.
I'm super excited to show you guys what we've been working on with this visualizer. Now you can take any form of spatially or temporally variant data and turn it into a graph, a heat map, or a graph and a heat map. Let me show you. So we have an Excel sheet right here.
So what is this?
This was a SAP test that was taken in the field at different times, at different days, at different points in space.
So each block is a different day, and each thing is a different chemical, right?
No, these are different. These are different nutrient readings.
Nutrients, yeah.
That was taken from a SAP test. This was for soybeans.
So, like, this is 3 different locations on this day for all of these different nutrients.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and what you know, this is just a bunch of like unstructured, like just a bunch of numbers, and I can't really tell what's going on here. So I want to be able to visualize it. I don't want to have to go into Excel and do all the crazy commands and all that.
Make 4 different rows, populate it. Yeah.
I just want it to work.
Yeah.
So I already went ahead and uploaded it. It's this file right here. Right. You can upload similar files by pressing this Add Files button right here. And what you can do is you can press this Visualize button. And it's gonna.
So right now it's taking in that data. And it's saying it's trying to make sense of it and then put it in a format in which it's not only obvious to us what's going on, but it's also obvious to our system, our AI, so that then if you have questions about what's going on, it can query those questions and it can give you informed insights from that information.
Exactly. And I will say it might take a little bit of time because it has to do a ton of processing.
Yeah. Well, it's faster than getting your intern to do it.
Right, exactly. So what we're hoping is going to stem from this is a dynamic heat map showing our distribution of different nutrients over time.
Yeah. So like if I were to imagine the ideal, right? Let's just say I wanted to take that and do something with it. We had the time, we had all of the 3 locations we took these tests from, and then we had the different nutrients for each test. So the ideal would be, I would see like a map with these 3 different locations, and then for every day then we'd say a chart of how each different chemical changed over that time, and I'd be able to see the different heat maps for every time I took those measurements and how those heat maps compare to each other.
Exactly. So it finally finished, and what we have to notice here is that this has location information inside of it. So if we do want to visualize this data, we do have to choose one of our fields to work with so that we can basically constrain it to that field. So these different latitude and longitude values right here, we're taking inside of one of our fields, and I'm going to select that field right here. It is this LSU field. I'm going to click continue, and what we're going to see is these data points are in the actual field that we just had. So these are different coordinate points that represent different values all over time. You see, all of our information was extracted from this CSV file right here, which contained time and space variant data.
Yeah.
And you can see over time, we have different snapshots in time that different readings were taken.
So in the real world, we'd probably take it from about the same place, but in this scenario, each of these readings was taken in a different location, right? Okay.
Yep, that's right. And what this can represent is any spatially variant data. So this can be like sensors moving throughout a field. This can be you taking different readings from your field notes. As long as it is spatially or temporally variant, then you're able to visualize it.
So right now I see 2 are blue and 1 is red. What's going on there?
So these are, the reason is because these are different valued points, right? So we have this right here, if you see at the top.
NO3 is at 104 on that
yes,
one.
this is 104, this is 113, and then this is 409.
409, yeah.
Yes, so it is very different, and that's why we have such a stark difference right here when we're visualizing it. And you know, it not only got NO3, it got all of the different variables. So if we're talking about P, K, calcium, magnesium, everything that was in this Excel sheet, now you can visualize it on the actual field that you took these measurements and as they vary over time. So I want to show you something that's a little cool. Now, we have these different points that are taken at different space. What can we do now? We can interpolate.
Okay.
So we can interpolate all of over our field and create a heat map of what it actually would look like.
So when you say interpolate, you mean the machine can kind of make an assumption of, all right, we know these data points to be true, but based on these truths, we're going to make an assumption of what everything else around it is actually like.
Exactly. Yeah. That is exactly what a heat map really represents. You have a bunch of different sample points, and the question is, okay, how do I figure out what's between those sample points? And that's generally what a heat map shows you. So let me interpolate all of the different variables, and this might take a little bit of time. We're going to do it for all of the different snapshots, and it's going to load for a little bit because it has to do a lot of computation to figure this out. And look at that. What do we have? An actual heat map of this distribution of data.
So let's dive into what this means really quick. So I see we got the blue area, kind of green area, and the red area. And according to the slider in the corner there, it shows that blue is the least amount of CU, red is the most, and green is in between. So what this is saying makes a good bit of logical sense, which is the area where the 2 samples had less CU generally tends to have less CU, whereas the area where we had more CU, it assumes that somewhere in between the area of low and high, there was an area of medium CU, so you see it go to green. And then it's also making the assumption that, okay, there's probably something in this direction that makes CU go higher, therefore that set of the graph is higher.
Exactly. That is exactly what it is showing. And not only for this time snapshot, it shows it for all 4 time snapshot. We can hit autoplay here, and you can just let it play and visualize your data as it goes over time. So if you have sensors that are collecting this data that are in different parts of your fields that are collecting data over time, you can just sit back and watch it work.
Right.
It's as
See
easy
how
as
it
that.
changed over time. Map that into maybe you applied some fertilizer, see what effect it had, and then also, so would this be helpful in so I know what the levels are, would this be helpful in determining if I wanted to very precisely apply a fertilizer across my field? Could this be used to be able to do those precision applications?
Exactly. If you had a nutrient needs map, so imagine right now this data represents like what was actually measured.
Right.
If this instead said how much you needed, then you can use our variable rate tool to actually figure out how much of each different fertilizer you can use on your field.
Right.
Like let me show you what that I created a couple of others. Let me load one of these right now. I don't have a map for this visualization. I'll show you another one in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, if that data represented nutrient needs, then you would be able to calculate how much of any different fertilizer blend to use on that point. So it'll save you a whole bunch of money and will actually address all of your deficiencies at once. So it's super cool. Now, what we can also do, in addition to interpolation, is figure out different zones. So you can see like this is kind of like a zone right here. This is another. But if we want to, say, discretize that to just 4 zones, maybe 3, let's try 3 zones, and we wanted to cluster it, what we can do was it will show you, and we did it for all different values, so it kind of tried to cluster everything together for all of our different variables. But it will try its best to create different zones that are best representations of your underlying data.
Of all the data you gave it. Yeah.
Exactly.
And so kind of the point there is that the idea is this tool gives you the freedom to whatever application you need, you can get that. If you want a super precise interpolation of what's between every point, you can get that. If you want a less precise to just blanket over some sort of an application, you can also get that. It's all available through this visualizer.
Exactly. Yeah. It's pretty cool what this type of system is able to do.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to see just a timeline of your data time, what you could do is we have 3 different points right here. Let's assume that these would stay in place over time, representing sensors. What you can do is see for whatever time snapshot that you're looking at. So we have 4 snapshots right here. Those values for each of those. There's a lot of stuff to look at. So let's get rid of a couple of these right here. Let's say I just wanted to see my sulfur, my zinc, just my sulfur, my zinc over time for my different points. So what you could do?
Killing it on sulfur here.
Exactly. So it's pretty cool how you're able to see all of this different types of data, and eventually what we're going to want to be able to do is to plug and play your sensor data up to here so that you can see everything in one place. And it's pretty neat how it's able to do all of this. All of this stemmed from this boring Excel sheet.
Right.
Isn't that cool?
I mean, it makes it even, you don't have to be a data scientist. You don't have to be a wizard in Excel. No. You can literally just upload it and see all this information. And then whether you're working with your consultant to interpret it or whether you want to interpret it yourself. In fact, so if someone wanted to see some insights from this, what's a way that they could do that? What are some of the insights they could glean from this?
Well, depending on what, the weird thing with this is that all of your insights are just right in front of you now. right? So it really depends on the type of data that you're trying to visualize. If you're trying to visualize pressure maps, like weed pressure maps and insect pressure maps, then you might want to figure out different zones that you should apply an herbicide or a pesticide. Or you could figure out, okay, I traveled here, here, and here, and we're able to figure out all this information here and there. So now you can just visualize it and look at it.
So it sounded like what you were saying, that if you're a crop consultant, right, and you're going out and you're sweeping a field, right, and you want to see how many bugs are there, right, that you could then put that data into this to see, okay, where's kind of the levels of economic threshold. Since we already have field notes,
let me show you exactly what that use case looks like. So I have a field node right here called Johnson grass pressure.
Okay.
And let's just say for a second, I was talking to my AI and I was putting points here and there. Well, since we have this information right here of coordinate information, let's say you're inside your field and you take different points, different sections have different coordinate points that are inside of that field.
So in this example, you were at one point of the field with that coordinate, and you said you saw 10 weeds, and this other point of the field you said 20 weeds.
Yep.
Even though that's unrealistic, you might actually say, hey, I've seen this many stink bugs in my sweep, or I've seen this much fungus on the leaves. This can be applicable no matter what the number is.
Exactly. It doesn't matter as long as there is a number, a piece of data attached to it, and as long as there is coordinate information. What you can do is press this visualize notes right here.
We're got a warning there.
We're going to ignore time. This is just a pop-up.
Yeah.
We're going to ignore time because we don't want to view it over time. I just want to look at it over space. And I'm going to press this visualize button, automatically set to Innovation Park, and it's going to do its thing. And after a bit, look at that. This is our Innovation Park field right here. Wow. We can do the exact same thing, view this data over space, create different clustering zones just like this. And look, we can find for zone 1, we had an average weed count of 18.2, which is similar. It's a decent representation of our actual point right here, which was 20. And then in zone 2, we have a weed count of 12. Yeah. Just like that.
Wow. And so, like, the idea is beforehand, right? If you were trying to do this, you would have had to maybe write down all these numbers as you're in the field. Then you take those numbers and maybe you put them into an Excel sheet. Then once you put them in an Excel sheet, you might try to generate a graph, but you can't even see where they are. In this, you literally can just talk out the note. Say, I've seen 10 here, and then when you're in this location, I've seen 20 here. And then it literally 2 clicks of the button, it's not only visualized on the map that you can send to a grower or to a friend or to your consultant, but then it gives you all the insights of what numbers were there, when these notes were taken, and exactly where you took those notes.
And if you want to share it with your grower, all you would have to do is press this export PDF. We're just going to export it like this. And what it's going to do is show you all of this.
Oh, there it is.
Exactly what we just had.
Wow.
Right there. And so you can directly either print this out wherever you want, share it with a grower, or just look at it.
Just feel proud of your work.
Just feel proud, yes.
Yeah.
Because it was that easy to do.
So that seems super capable right now. Where do you see this visualizer feature going? I mean, so we've talked about how it can integrate with like IoT devices, but right now it's super capable. Is there like a clear next step you see of where this is going to integrate next?
Definitely all of your sensor data, all of your different combine data that you're already recording showing up in here so that you can edit it, and then eventually being able to hook this up to our system so that it can derive different types of insights off of your interpolated and clustered data.
Say more about that. So like what's an example of that?
So let's say, I have my weed count right here. I have zone 1 and zone 2.
Yeah.
and this isn't here right now, but it will be in the future. Eventually, I want our AI button. You just be able to click it and say, "What does this mean?"
Right. What's going on here?
What is going on? We have our Johnson grass weed pressure maps right here. What does this mean?
Yeah.
And eventually, our system will be able to look at your map and say, for this zone, you should apply this herbicide at this rate,
at this time, considering weather and everything else.
Exactly.
And so now, instead of, right now you might do just a single blanket spray, right? You might be over applying in some areas where you need it. Whereas with this, you could literally cut your application maybe in half, because you're being a lot more precise in where you're spraying. And as we know, the more you cut costs, the more that improves your margins at the end of the season.
Exactly. It's going to save you a whole bunch. It's already saving you a boatload of time. Yeah. Now it can also save you money as well by reducing the amount of excess that you're either applying here, or just stop wasting money.
Yeah.
I do want to show off one last feature of the data visualizer. It is the satellite view.
Okay.
So what this satellite viewer does is it will show you all of your different weather data, a whole bunch of soil information, elevation, and even NDVI. Now, I will note that the soil, the elevation, and NDVI data is only available right now for parts of the southern states. So we're talking Louisiana, some of Mississippi, some of Alabama, and Arkansas. But by request, we can integrate other states' data as well, of course.
If anyone reaches out and says, hey, I really want some of this data, you're somewhere outside those states, just reach out to us, let us know, and we'll make sure you have access to it.
Exactly. So what we're going to do here is...
looking for a field here.
Looking for a field. Let's try this.
All right.
I don't know if I've tried this field yet, so we're about to see.
There's a first for everything, even on a live demo.
Exactly. Well, look at this. So what am I looking at here? So we see these data layers right here. So what do we have to work with? Elevation, NDV. Whoa, there's a lot of stuff, right?
So it's getting this, to be clear, from satellite data, right? So literally satellites that were put up that are beaming this information back down. And we are aggregating all of that to show to you.
So the elevation data is taken directly from the USGS. They have a bunch of different drones that are going on and take this LiDAR information. It's really cool stuff. And what we're doing is we're collecting and aggregating all of these different sources all into one place. So you don't have to switch from this source to this source to this source. And then we have our NDVI levels, which are only supported in a couple of different points.
Yeah.
But right here, we can see we have a couple of NDVI points right here. It's kind of, NDVI is a good measure of how green your crops are and your kind of field is. So it can, there's been a lot of different studies on applying different fertilizers variably based off of NDVI, and actually some yield prediction as well. So it's a lot of interesting stuff. Right now, our AI has access to all of these different data sources if you choose our geospatial model, and it can give you more of those insights about that data if it's available, which is super interesting. So let me show you some more. So we have the soil nitrogen. And, I will be upfront, these are rough estimates for all of this different soil data. But it's still useful for you to see what's out there, what exists. So if we wanted to see the sand content right here, and we see this value up here of it over space. Let me switch back to elevation. At all of these different points right here, we can click and see what those values actually were. And of course we can export. I'll show that in a second. But we can also, all of this different weather data for your field, you can choose as well. So let's choose temperature just to be fun. And what we see here is this temperature over time. We see a max and a min temperature, and we can record the value as it goes over the past 2 weeks. So a week in the past and a week in the future forecast. So you can do predictive modeling. And
so it's going hour by hour right now and showing us what the temperature was September 3rd over this field.
Exactly. September 4th, etc. Right?
So we can literally see it heating up in the day and then cooling off at night.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
It is really, really neat of how it's able to do all this crazy stuff.
And so not only can you see this if it becomes relevant, but then, like you said, I mean, do we want to pull up the GeoSense model and try to show that it has access to some of this information?
Sure, let's try it. Let's go to chats and let's select a field. What field should we select?
We were just talking about the Baker field.
Sure.
Do that
So,
one.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we saw that there was a lot of interesting elevation data here. Let's say, anything I should keep in mind about my elevation levels.
And before you send that,
And we got to change it to this GeoSense model right here.
Yep.
And let's see what insights it's able to derive off of this information. So it's analyzing our different different resources that we already saw for our and we don't have to.
There it is. That was quick.
Yeah, that was really quick. Let's see. Wow. It found that it ranged from 7.8 meters to 8.29 meters. And this is a relatively small difference, but it can still influence water movement, drainage, and potentially.
Especially for runoff, right? And this is going to become a big thing when it comes to EPA compliance and such. If anytime you want to be able to know how is runoff going to affect what I'm doing, like this elevation data and other data that that this has access to, could become really valuable.
It was already able to figure out the gradients.
Oh,
Look
wow.
at that. Wasn't that interesting?
The middle of the field generally sits at intermediate elevations, so expect a gradient in water movement from southwest toward the northeast.
That's friggin' nuts. That was able to derive all of that
Yeah.
from just what we saw earlier.
Yeah. So if you were putting in any sort of mitigation measure, you could literally say, okay, well, if the water gradient is probably going to go from southwest to northeast, then I should implement something to catch in the northeast or something to filter in the northeast. Or I just need to pay more attention because this is where anything is going to run off to. Wow.
And eventually, so this is our GeoSense model. It's standalone right now, but it will be integrated eventually into our agriculture core model to gain all of those different insights. So if it needs weather information, it can just get it.
Yeah.
If it needs elevation information, it can just get it. If it needs to know the wind speed to mitigate drift, then it can just get it. Based off of all of this will work for all of your fields. Let's choose some more fields. Why not?
Yeah.
Let's do
Well, and a point on that wind drift, right? Not only does it have historical wind drift, but it also has that wind drift prediction. And if it doesn't have it, it'll just say I don't have it. But especially when you're going to apply some pesticides or herbicides, making sure that the wind isn't more than 10 miles an hour, being able to plan out, okay, this is when the wind is going to be low, this is when it's not going to be rainy. You can literally just use the AI to try to do that optimization and say when the ideal time to plant it or the ideal time to apply that product is.
Exactly. So let me, I just said, look at my wind speed and generate insights for my fields. I'm just going to send this and see what it's able to do. So it's first going to analyze this Baker field that I was showing earlier, and it's going to fetch the resource wind speed for it, and then it's going to analyze it, and then it's going to move on to the next field. So look at that. So it's still going.
So we got an intermediate answer. What's going on there?
So this is the analysis for one of these fields. So it will basically loop through all of the different fields that you select in this field selector, and it will tell you everything you need to know about for all of that information that we just saw for that field.
So you could select 10 fields and it would just run through
select
them and
100 if you wanted to, and say, are any of my fields going to get rained this week?
Right. And then just let it go grab a coffee and come back, and it'll just go through every field and say, yes, it's going to rain, no, it's not going to rain, or here's the wind speeds.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Literally like doing what might take you manually hours of information gathering and just automating it for you while you do anything else.
Just like that.
Wow.
Isn't that fun? General weed span.
Yeah.
Spatial variation. Now, our wind data doesn't vary from like inside of a field a whole lot. We've noticed just due to resolution issues, and unless you're dealing with like half the world, you don't really need to worry about it. But it does recognize trends over time for
Right.
the weather data, which is super fun.
Wow.
So it was able to say, it was able to figure out like different afternoons had
Yeah.
different wind speeds over 6 miles per hour, which can
Wow.
increase and may affect spraying or irrigation efficiency.
Wow.
Isn't that fun?
So everything from making sense of data that you have in different formats, to being able to visualize it, to being able to then use AI to get the insights that you need from all of this information. This visualizer is really just able to take all these different types of data, make it understandable for humans and for AI, and then integrate that into the intelligence of the system to help you come to smarter insights.
This technology is game changing.
Yeah.
And everything we've built, just you don't see this anywhere else.
No, you really don't. Like a lot of other companies will just like show you these visualizations, but they won't go that next step further into how to actually use these visualizations for what you're doing.
Now, as you saw with visualizations, before you can visualize anything, you need a field to visualize that data on. And how do you create these fields? Well, you do it on our GIS mapping page. So now we're going to talk about how you use and some of the really cool features and capabilities of the GIS mapping page where you can create all of your fields. Now we're here to talk about the GIS mapping page, and joining us is Matthew Snellgrove, Chief R&D Engineer at FarmMind. So one of the main things you've been working on recently is making our GIS mapping page as usable and accessible for agricultural consultants everywhere to use. Do you want to give a little bit of context on kind of why we ended up making this, and then we'll dive into some of the cool stuff it does?
Yeah, so everybody who is in the agricultural space knows how important a good map is. A place to draw your borders, keep track of your acres, keep track of all the different documentation that goes into fields. So what we noticed is a lot of the existing softwares that people are used to are outdated, difficult to use, difficult to look at. Mm-hmm. So we basically just wanted to do that, but give it a modern feel and make it easy to use and nice to look at.
No doubt. So let's get into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our GIS page is at the top left corner. So this is what it looks like when you boot up. So you see that you have a satellite background. You have your fields, and is there anything specific that you want to highlight first?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess we can start with just the easy how you create your field, and then we'll create a couple tags and show whatever you export some fields, whatever you think is people should know about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously the most important thing is getting your fields on the map. So if you go up here to map controls, this is where you do that. So we can start by drawing a field. So first I will zoom in, find a plot. Let's see, just make one here. So you'll click draw field. On desktop, you can tap to add nodes and draw your field. You get a little preview of what your field looks like. And when you're done, click enter. And this will take you to field info. So field info is where you can put in things like the field name, groups, which I'll get into in a little bit. You can put your planting date and just what other info that you want. So getting into it, so we'll just leave this as new field for now.
So what do the groups do?
So the groups, so we have two sorts of information that we use to categorize our fields. We have tags and groups. So groups is more geographically oriented. So that would be things like parish, county, maybe a farm that the fields are in, things that group the fields together by geography. Whenever you attach a bunch of fields to a group, you'll get a big border around it to show, hey, these are all part of this group. Okay. So, or you can create a new group. So that's what I'll do right here. I'll create a new group. I'll call it new group and create. And for crops, I'll give it agape, just something.
We love growing agape in Louisiana.
And then we'll create it, and this will take us to tags. So tags is a really flexible way where you can attach information to your field that can change. And the good thing about tags is that however you want to organize how you categorize fields for whatever your system is, your operation, you can do that. So like in this case, we have crop stage, irrigation type, priority levels, or whatever. So, and you can actually create your own tags. And so we'll do that here. We'll create a tag. We'll call this tag, we'll call it Bob, and we'll make a new tag type, and we'll call this farmer. So in our farmer tag type, we can create multiple tags. We can create Bob, we can create Joe, and it can be, whatever you want. And then we also have permissions. So permissions are a way to share fields with other users on the platform. So maybe you're a consultant and you have scouts out in the field. You can create all of your fields, you can share it with all of your scouts, and then when they go on their map, they will also see those fields. So we'll skip that for now.
And the biggest value add to that is they can see it, like they can see their active location on the field.
That's right.
So if you have 10 different fields all in one group and you're sending someone else out to scout it, rather than trying to be confused, am I in this field or in that field, they can literally see their location.
Yep.
So they can not only navigate it, but then obviously take field notes and do all that stuff in very particular fields.
That's right. Yeah. No more do you have to say, hey, go over to that tree over there and go all the way that way. You can physically see where you are on the map in the field. That's right.
No doubt.
Okay, so we went over drawing fields. You can edit your fields. You can just tap and move things around for that precision, or we can import fields. And so depending on which software you're coming from, we have some functionality right now. You can import your shape files, and it'll actually carry over the properties that come with those shape files, and it'll auto-generate the tags and apply those to the fields for you.
No doubt. Making it as easy as possible to switch from another software to this one.
That's right. That's right.
And so, can you show what's some of the value of these tags? How would someone use the tags? And how easy is it to change these tags compared to some of the legacy software that people are currently using?
Sure. So one way that it would be nice to use tags would be, let's say that we have a group of fields.
If you go over
And
to the corner there should be 9 fields from this morning.
okay.
Yeah, there we go. All
So-
Cole's fields there.
So let's say we have these fields. Do these have tags on them?
Most of them I don't think have tags at the moment, so we can
Okay.
go in and tag them.
So-
or we can group tag them.
Yeah. So we'll show our select mode. So select mode is a way that you can apply changes to fields and groups. So basically we can enter select mode, and I'll just drag over all of these and click on manage tags. And I can see all the tags that are applied to these fields. So I see 2 of these 9 have this tag, 8 have this one has this one. So what I'll actually do is I'll select just these 2, and I'll apply a tag. I'll apply, let's say, drip irrigation. I'll add it, save that. And then I'll go to these other ones, and I'll apply a different irrigation. So I'll do subsurface. And then what you can do is, now that these all have their own tags in that tag type, I can color by that tag type. So I can go to irrigation type, and you'll see these 2 that are blue and these that are brown. So it's just a nice way, the tag types gives you a nice way to visually see all this information on your fields. And you can see how this would be especially important when you have 200, 300, 400 fields in one farm, and they all have different varieties, they're all at different stages, and so on.
No doubt. So tags just allow for descriptions of the field, right? It's a structured way to describe what that field is and then visualize all that information so that you can manage them all.
Yep.
And so obviously you can share all these fields with people you're working with to see the information about them. But if you wanted to print them out, is there an easy way to export it?
Yeah, so right here, what I'll do is I'll get right here, I'll turn this background off so that it's easy to see the fields. I will turn on our transparent markers to get rid of that. And then on my overlays. So your overlays are what actually shows on top of the fields. It's the text that you see. So let's say I want to see the acreage and I want to see the irrigation type, which is also what we're coloring by. And I'm going to make the text a little bit bigger so it's a little more visible. And then I can click this export area button right here, and I can drag, make the square. And now this will take me to export mode. And so once I'm in export mode, it'll carry all my settings from GIS, all my visual settings here, and then I can do some other things. I can maybe highlight a couple fields. Maybe I want to highlight these fields, and maybe I want to add a note. And maybe in my note, I want to say spray on highlighted fields. Add. And I might want to draw, for whatever reason. you have some flexibility here on marking up your map. And then I can export this as a PDF. It'll give me the acreage across all the different tags on this. It'll tell me how many acres of drip I have per subsurface. It'll tell me the acreage of the highlighted fields. And it'll give me a nice PDF with, I can put notes and another way that you can share information as opposed to the permissions we saw earlier. This is a way to print out a nice PDF that you can share with others for whatever purpose you might need it.
Gotcha. So is there anything else about the GIS page that you think people should know about?
Yeah, so one thing that we worked hard on was to make it to where it's easy to navigate the GIS page. So, it can get sort of annoying having to, go here and keep scrolling your mouse and wiggling around. So we have a couple things. Number one, we have this current location button. And if you click it, we don't have our location on right now, but if you click it, it'll take you to where you are. So that's especially useful. If I'm in the field, maybe my GIS is somewhere else, I click that button, it's gonna center my map right where I am, let me know where I am. We also have this zoom feature where I can click that and I can just drag over a small area and it'll take me right there. So if I haven't had to sit there and zoom all the way in, just drag, do that. And then another really useful thing that we implemented is this home bases. So I can go right here, click home bases, I can create a new one. And let's say that these fields over here, I'm always looking at these every day, these fields right here. And I just wish that I could just open my map up and just take me here.
Of course, you wanted to go to the golf course every day.
Right. So I click save and I'll name this golf course. And then now whenever I load it into my GIS page, no matter where I am, I can always go right to my golf course. No having to click and scroll for 10, 20 seconds. Just click and go.
Yeah, the pre-saved views that you can see, those fields that you look at all the time.
Right.
And so how does the Navigator AI fit into some of this? I mean, are you able to use it for a lot of these capabilities?
Yeah, so if you ask the AI, you say, hey, do I have any first stubble fields in this group? It'll say yes, and it'll take you to those fields.
Do you want to try it?
We can.
Yeah, do it. We can always edit it out.
Okay. So let's say, let me look at your, let's see.
So we just created those drip irrigation fields. We can try it on those.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so let's say, hey AI, do I have any drip irrigation fields? Let me see them.
Yes. I will now display them. I have identified field. You can see Coles Field 4, example field, and another field, and Coles Field 8, and example, which all have drip irrigation.
Yep.
Nice.
And then I can click here and take you right there, right to that field.
There we go.
Yep.
All those fields with drip irrigation. And so if you wanted to mass change the tags, right? So we didn't apply them. Can you show kind of the manual way to change those tags and also the using AI?
Yeah, sure. So I'll show a couple ways to change tags. So number one, if you just click on a field, you can pull up this page right here and you can click on view and edit tags. It'll show you which tags are applied. You can edit and you can add some more, save it, and now those are applied to that field. So obviously, if every year you have your first stubble going over to second stubble and second to third, you don't want to go do that for every single field, and other softwares have this. But one thing that we did is, let's say I go to select mode and I want to get all of my first stubble. And I'll select all my fields that have first stubble. And then
so it just automatically fills in the two that we have first stubble, which are Coles fields.
So in select mode, there's a couple different ways to select fields. You can either click and drag. You can just go in and you can literally click on fields. I have it filtered, so it won't show me other fields. But you can click on fields, or you can use this button. Let me get the exact fields that I want to show up in my map, and then just click this, and it'll just pull those up. And you can do any combination of those. But now I have all my first stubble, and I can click on Manage Tags, and it'll show me my two fields that have first stubble. So when I click on them, I can change them. So on this account, there actually isn't a second stubble, so we can go in and create one. So we can do, let's see, crop stage. We can do second stubble. and we can, give it whatever color we want, change. Ooh, we already have that one.
Oh yeah, I already had a second stubble one.
Okay.
So you can't create two of the same tag.
Yeah, you can't
that
create.
Makes sense.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then it'll stage these changes. So let's say that every year you want first to second, second to third, third to fourth, fourth to fifth. One thing that we heard from other growers is that on their softwares, they could select all of their first stubble and send it to second stubble. Well, then now all those are second stubble, and all your other second stubbles are second stubble. So how do you know which ones? So you'd have to go from fifth to sixth, and then fourth to fifth, and work your way down. So we just made it easy. You can just very quickly select all of your fields basically and just say, hey, I'm gonna change all my first to second, second to third all at once. You can stage all these changes at one time and it'll make them all in parallel, save it, and bada bing, bada boom, you're done.
Awesome. And
Yep.
if you wanted to change those back using the AI, how would you do that?
Yeah, so if I want to change those back, I could talk to the AI and I could say, hey, change my second stubble. I misspelled it like I misspelled it. My second stubble, I don't remember how I spelled it, fields to first stubble.
If I had $1 for every misspelling that's already in this big video, then we'd probably have our entire funding round done. So don't worry about that.
Well, I'll add some more. Okay, and here you go. So you see that automatically it pulls me to the GIS page. It shows me, here's all your fields with second stubble, 316 acres, changing that to first stubble. So basically just undoing exactly what we did. And what's really cool is not only can you chat with it, but you can also use this microphone and you could just talk to it. You could verbally just pull it out and say, hey, change all my first to second stubble. So you can imagine, typically you go on your software and you might have to go through every single field, or it still might take you, 45 minutes to use theirs. Here, you literally just talk to it. Hey, change all my first to second, second to third, and it'll just do it all at once in parallel. Take, 1 minute. You didn't have to click a single button.
Literally a process that would take hours of, if you have 1,000 fields, going and changing all of these things on the legacy software where we had to select each field individually or select all these groups individually and come up with a plan to work backward on it. You can now do literally just by asking the AI one sentence, hey, do this, and you have it done in like a minute, and then you can go do whatever you want to do.
These are not problems that we need to do on our own. They're not difficult, and if the AI does it for us, perfect.
No doubt. And as folks have seen in the other videos, this mapping is kind of foundational to every other part of the platform. Whether or not you're doing visualizations, whether or not you're doing, you're giving the location into the chat component, whether you're taking field notes, and you can see those field notes on the GIS page. This initial setup of fields is critical to making every other part of the platform work really seamlessly together to organize individual, whether you're an agricultural consultant with thousands of fields or you're a small family farm that maybe has one or two. Just kind of getting this right and then using it can save folks a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, your fields are basically your central anchor point to the entire platform. That you can, all the other components all are centered around your fields.
No doubt. Well, if you want to try this out and more, that was just a high level. There's all sorts of more things you can do in this page. If you want to try that out, try it out today at farmsmart.ai. Now, there's a lot of different components on this platform, a lot of different information that goes into every single field. So we determined that we wanted to bring all of that information together in one centralized location so that you could not only see it, but use it to make informed decisions about your management practices on your field. So how we did that was through the dashboards feature. This dashboards feature brings together all the information you need to know about your field, everything from what tags are on there, what the weather is, what the soil is, to your financials for that field specifically. So now we're gonna go into and talk about our dashboard page that's available for every single field. Another feature of the FarmMind platform is the dashboards feature. Here to talk with us about the dashboards feature is Aaron Beatty.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah, so Aaron is a crop scout and soon will be an agricultural consultant.
Yep, that's right.
So if we're on the homepage here, right, there's two different ways people can find the dashboard feature. So one is literally just by clicking dashboards, and they can select whatever field that they want as a dashboard. Or, like Grant showed, you can literally just ask our assistant, Farmer Al, about the dashboards, right? So even if I just say, how do I use the dashboards feature,
And it'll just talk to you.
Yeah, you can literally ask it anything about the platform, and it'll tell you what it knows. So one, it just answered, right? You can have season dashboards, you can have seasonal comparisons, you can have field comparisons, but it'll also bring you right to the dashboard page, right? So if we go home here, as you can see, right now we are in LSU Innovation Park. And so we have a field that we do testing with that is the Innovation Park field, right? So also, if you just click that field, you can see the dashboard about that field.
It shows you total acres on the field, right?
Oh yeah. So if we go back there for this field, you can see any of the information about the field. So like right here, right, it says 4.16 acres.
14.
Yeah.
14 acres.
And also when you open up the more information about it, you can see 14.8 acres.
Yeah.
And if we go to the dashboard for this field, it'll have all the information about that season. As you can see, select multiple seasons, right? So the more you track, the more you'll be able to see.
So you have history in your hand right here.
Yep. Everything that you're able to put in about it, you can see. If you use it for multiple seasons, you can literally compare each season.
Really? Can I put, like right here, there's irrigation type, variety, priority level.
So
what are we putting on for like priority level? So like.
Yeah, so is it high, medium, low? Do we want to do something else?
So as a scout,
yeah,
if you were scouting, you had a decent threshold on red-banded stink bugs, we can put it at high priority, and it'll almost like notify you when and where to check it.
So the nice part there is you can add the high priority there, but then it will also add it as a tag to the field. So when you're in the GIS, you can filter by all your fields that are high priority, and you can literally just ask it. Or that's the AI feature. What of my fields are high priority? And it can search through, so to find out your priority, I need to search through your fields, and then it can tell you which of the fields are high priority fields.
Damn. And then it goes by soil type too, right here. Is this for soil samples?
Yeah, you can. So it gives you a couple of basic options you can choose from, or you can create your own, right?
Yeah.
So if I want to say, oh, this is just straight mud, right, I can create that own tag about it, right? So you can see this one is already tillage, no till, right? But I could change that to whatever type of till.
Conventional, minimal, strip till.
And so not only does that show up here, but it shows it as a tag on the GIS page. So if you want to manage all your fields, you can see all the fields with a particular tag. This yield information is kind of interesting. So you see this 31.4.
Yeah.
Right? Well, it's interesting that that's actually an average yield for this location, for this crop, right? So if you're growing sugarcane, all of the research shows that the average yield you'll have in this location is 31.4 tons per acre. And now you can change that for your individual situation, but everything throughout this dashboard, where we have the information to just auto-generate it, so you can see how you compare to average, we do. And especially when we get into the financial part, we literally just generate all these averages to make it easy.
Where's this coming from?
Yeah, so it's coming from publicly available but hard to find information, right? So for example, Louisiana State publishes all sorts of different research, and one of the things that they publish is there are appendices in their guides that show average information of all these pesticides, all these herbicides, average yield. The USDA has something called their NASS database, where it pulls directly from NASS. NASS tracks all these different areas around the country what the average yield for different crops are. So that's a USDA project that we're able to pull the information right from their website.
Yeah, 2025, we got a good crop in the ground. I think we'll get a better yield average than 31.4 this year for the farmers.
Yeah, well, and if you change that, you can just
higher than that.
Yep. So let's just say your actual yield was 33. You can then save that, and it will affect every other area of your dashboard.
And this is leading right into the financials that you were telling me about.
So real quick, before we get into the financials, another cool part about these dashboards is you can literally see the timeline, right? Yeah. So obviously this is an example field. We haven't had a ton. But you can see in this timeline how you have 2 field notes that we took here, right? And so let's just say you're interested in that field note. You can literally see what the field note is, right? So I just put yeet, right, as a field note. But let's just say you have this field note as well, where I just made an example field note, right? This is a note about our office field, right? So you can see the entire history of the field, and it automatically brings in weather filters, right? So I could filter it for, let's say I want to see every rain event that happens. You can see every rain event that happened. You can see the same thing for harvest, field notes, everything.
But, I mean, as a farmer, they're not going to want to know every rain event. What if they're going to want to know every half inch?
Big ones, right?
Yeah, every half inch.
Right, exactly. So we can set it for, right now, this is 0.1 0.5, right?
Yeah.
So this is every rain event that
Up
is
to
above
half an inch.
half an inch. And let's just say this isn't big enough. We can see the entire season, and we can see every single point in it where
That's a great tool.
this is above half an inch for this field specifically, right? So if you have a different field, obviously those rains events are going to be different because it rained differently
Yeah.
over different fields. But you can literally see every single time this season, and you can zoom in and see every single point in the season where there was those rain events and the exact field notes that you had, and you can click in to see more information about that field note. So that's a timeline of everything on this field. And as you can see, the quick navigation here also, so you have our financial analysis, the soil analysis, elevation, weather, and growth. And this is going to continue to be built out. So let's say we want to see our financial analysis, that brings us right here. So this is definitely a feature that we want to build out a lot more.
Yeah.
But just to start, it allows you to track your revenues, track your costs, and see your profits, and use AI to go through every single line of your books and see where you could do better. It also tells you your key financial metrics. So without having to be an expert in Excel or an expert in finance, it'll
does it for
crunch
you.
the numbers for you.
Yeah.
Now let's just say you want to know what your gross margin for this example field was. It'll tell you it's 85.3%, but it'll also tell you exactly what numbers, right? Here's the formula for calculating gross margin. We took our revenue, our operating costs, our gross profit, and did that calculation.
This
Right.
this kind of seems like a hard thing to judge. Like, how are you getting these input costs? Like, what like how do you know they're paying a certain price for this fertilizer or this chemical? Like, I mean,
Yeah, so that's under
'cause,
the
I mean
cost.
that varies.
That's under the
farmer to
cost
farmer.
section. So you can add your own costs. Eventually, you'll be able to just import this straight from whatever you're using to manage your finances. But you can literally just add costs here, right? So in
Really?
this example field, I added 240-anamine, I added Azure, I added farmstead and draining cost, shipping, building equipment costs, and operator costs, right? But let's just say you want to add another
You can
cost.
add any cost if you
Yeah,
want.
let's say I'll go in and add a
you can
cost
put
here.
rent.
Yeah,
Rent.
exactly.
Yeah.
So let's just say I want to add a custom cost here. I could put, rent. This is a fixed cost,
Yeah.
right? It's going to just be another. And let's just say we want to put it just, let's call it its own category, just rent, right? And it's not per unit, it's a fixed price. So we have our total price of, let's say we're paying $1,000, right? And we can add that cost to our total cost there. And then you can see all of our costs at the bottom here. We're going to have a special cost under our fixed costs, which is rent. We're paying $1,000. We have one instance of it. There it goes. And you see our total cost went up by $1,000,
Yeah.
which changes all of our metrics. If we go to the analysis page, all of our metrics change accordingly.
So so if I go to dashboard and I
Mhm.
click on, field X, and field X has different inputs than field Y, it's going to be different for each field, and it's going to be up-to-date inputs for each field.
Yeah. So if we go to some other page, let's just say we go to a field I made for the Great American Farm Show. There's not going to be any information in about this field, so obviously that's all different. I put in arbitrary revenue, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't have any of those costs associated, so obviously there's no cost there. And I put in an arbitrary revenue for, I said that we were growing corn, right? And so currently this cost, these are all, again, pulled from those NAS databases, those
Yeah.
average databases. So for this location, which was the mall of, the national mall. So obviously no one's growing anything there. But for the NAS data they have about the national mall, this would be the average price per bushel and the average yield for that area.
So it's showing it. So when I'm gathering from this,
Yeah.
it's going to show you an average of yield from your area. So
Yeah.
and like compare you farm to farm almost.
You could, yeah. You could literally, that's why we have the target yield and the actual yield, right? The target yield is our, one, it's just the target for the season.
Yeah.
Then there's the actual yield, but those are infilled by what the average is. So you could always just check, like, am I going, when you're putting in this price per bushel, since this is pulled from NAS, right? If your price per bushel is 5.5, and you know that's the average, and you're getting 3, well,
Yeah.
obviously you're underperforming what the average is,
Yeah.
right? And so you can kind of use that, and we're going to build that out to make it even more obvious, more comparison tools. So you could say, here's what my field is, and here's how it compares to all the averages.
And can also go with yield also.
Yeah, everything. Everything about this field, you can compare the averages. So let me go back to Innovation Park just because we have it all filled out. So this is one component, and then the cool part is once you have all this filled out, you can literally just touch a button, run the AI analysis, and it's going to go through every single line of your budget to be able to give you an analysis, right? So obviously this isn't a real field, so the analysis might be a little swayed, but it's going to go through. As you can see, we already did a financial analysis there, so there's a little bit more, but it's just going to take a minute and literally just go through and be your advisor for what you can do different. So it just finished here. It said a financial review of this field indicates a period of exceptional profitability. We love it. Marked by strong yield and well-controlled costs. Right, a significant net profit of $12,000, right? So it was able to go through, and in this field, right, there wasn't anything. But for example, when
in cane, there's so many different input costs. It'd be really cool to see the analysis on a 50-acre cane field.
Yeah, we should film that. We should fill one of those out and make another video.
Yeah, we should definitely do that.
But like one of our teammates ran this analysis on a field in 2023 where they filled out all these costs and the farm had lost money. Really? And it was interesting. It came out and it said, oh, well, I see your costs in this were higher, but this year there was also a big drought, so that actually tracks with like what the average profitability was. And he was just like, wow, that's amazing. Like, I didn't realize like it would literally just compare that and be like, there was a drought this year.
So it hurt everybody that year.
Yeah, exactly. So we really think being able to combine this information and then also with the financial component, but also, so if you have a soil test done, you can put in your personal soil tests, but it'll also fill out just on average for that area, this is what the soil looks like. Same thing with weather, right? You saw the rain earlier on that timeline. You can see literally any weather you want, right? So this is precipitation. You can see the precipitation, but we're gonna get this long list of everything from temperature, dew point, wet bulb. Cloud cover, yeah. So this is the average cloud cover.
Are dependent on cloud cover.
We were talking to someone the other day, wind speed is a big one, right? When you're applying.
Drift. Yeah.
Yep. And so we were talking to someone who was involved in a legal case where someone sued him for drift. And he wanted to check.
This is a timeline so they can go back.
And literally see what the average wind speed was on the day that they applied. So if they made a field note of when they applied that, they could literally on the timeline see when they applied it and compare that to the wind speed. And then, you have your case right there.
Right there.
Yeah. Being able to track exactly what's going on, right? And sometimes it gives a prediction into the future. As you can see with wind speed here, it wasn't very confident in future projections, so it just has the past information. But that adapts as we get the new weather information. But yeah, literally anything you could want to know about this.
It has soil temp on there, so?
Yeah, it's an average soil temp. So here, let's see, soil temp 0 to 0.1 meter. So this is what it has been, and then it gives a couple days. Yeah, so up to August of 25th, it's able to have the soil temp.
It's good growing temps.
Yep, and this all comes from satellite data and approximation data that's available by some of the best, weather providers. And then obviously you can see the elevation. You can see the elevation through a lot of ways. But that's also the nature of this platform being kind of hyperlinked. Any information you want to see about this specific field, you can open the satellite data viewer where you can see, so like for example, this is elevation, right? So you can not only see how the elevation changes across the field, you can click at any one point and see up here what that elevation is. And this is all just coming from satellite data. So if you want to see your NDVI, obviously couldn't find this resource for this field over this time. There must have been too much cloud cover.
The elevation can help during harsh winter events. For instance, cane stubbling back.
Yeah, and definitely one of the things we want to build out more is that runoff analysis as well. So like as you're applying, being able to approximate the runoff and such and show your buffer zones and all of that.
And this is just the dashboard we're talking about.
Yeah, this is just dashboards, right. So the nice part is the idea of the dashboard is you're all in one place that brings together all of the information about a field. And very soon, not only will you be able to compare, see one field, but you'll be able to see one field over multiple years. But very soon, in a future update, we're going to make it so you can do this exact same dashboard, but for a group of fields, right? So let's just say you have 20, 30 fields. You can have this dashboard for all of them and like how this entire group is able to operate. And,
could you merge it as one farm?
Yeah, exactly.
So is this the future of this, to see exactly what your farm is doing year in, year out?
Yes. Yeah. Just everything you need to know about your field, all in one place and able to be changed, edits, seen.
Let's say 2 years from now, You've put in your data. You've
Yep.
been, you know, a stickler on it.
Yep.
You run a financial analyst on it.
Mhm.
It'll give you your farm financial analyst and show you where you're leaving money on the table.
Yep. Exactly.
Or you're just making a shit ton of money.
Yeah, or you're just profitable, in which
Yeah.
case everyone's happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, can you give a quick perspective on, you know, how this compares to anything you've seen currently being used?
I mean, listen, I come from paper maps almost, so I mean,
Oh, wow.
this is great. I mean, just the GIS system. I mean, compared to some things that I've seen, I mean, you know, somebody told me it was comparable to a Volkswagen, a little Beetle to a Ferrari.
Right.
I mean, I thought that was funny, but yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, it looks great. I mean, I love everything about the dashboard and how it just shows you. I mean, even down to weather. I mean, if a farmer can sit down or consultant can be driving to a field and before he gets there, he knows exactly what it rained, how much it rained. That's just more knowledge to him that he needs to make decisions going forward. And I mean, to a farmer, I mean, knowing that's crucial. I think the financial analysis is great. I mean, in my eyes, this is appealing to me because it shows you green, shows you red, and shows you blue. You
Right.
know? I mean, it's stupid simple.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I mean, this is what, if I was a farmer, if I was a consultant, this is what I would want to know. At least the farmer would want to know this.
Mhm.
Consultant, not so much. But
Well, the nice part
I think this is definitely going to get used. Definitely
Yeah.
by farmers. Definitely.
Yeah, and you know, as a crop scout, I know you've talked about how, you know, the way that you're communicating with growers currently is just through like text messages and emails and all
Yeah.
the stuff that's scattered out.
Phone calls. Yeah.
Yep. Well, then when you want to find out, all right, what'd you do 2 years ago, or any of that, it's all spread out, and you're trying to like search for it and remember. Oh,
You have
who
a
sent
really
me
good
this?
history here.
Right. Whereas
Yeah.
this, every single season, it's just all there.
How can I go from year to year here?
Yeah, so you can just create a dashboard for a separate year. So for example, let's just say I want to do, let's go edit the field information. Let's get back here. And let's say I want to open a dashboard here. Create
But
a
I wouldn't
dashboard.
need to make like separate fields every year, right?
No, so like
You
for
know?
example, if I want to see for 2024,
Okay.
I could create a dashboard for the 2024 year. It's just going to be pretty empty because I don't have
You don't have
anything
any
for
data for
2024. Right, right. I put in some arbitrary revenue data. That's, you know, this is just pulling the averages, right? So
Yeah.
it's doing an average revenue for a field of this size in this location. Here's that average revenue if you're growing sugarcane. You know,
Nice.
but nothing else is filled out, as you can see, because I didn't fill it out for the 2024 season. But if it is, then you can have that information, you can compare it, etc.
Nice.
Yep. And like I said, we're going to have groups of fields and all of that. But even just right now, being able to have all the information about your field in one place. As useful as the dashboard is, at the end of the day, this app was made to be used both in the back office and out in the field. So we're actually going to go next to a conversation that me and Cole Lacombe had out in the field, where we were talking about practical ways to use it out in the field. Everything from creating field notes while out in the field scouting a field to identification and more. Hello, I'm Colin Raby, CEO of FarmMind, here with co-founder and chief agronomist Cole Lacombe. Cole, so we just got done sweeping a field. Can you tell a little bit of what just happened and the example of using FarmMind out in the field there?
Yeah, so basically we found some red bandits in this field, and I decided that we should probably use an acephate and bifenthrin application to eradicate that pest. So I pulled out my phone, clicked our virtual assistant on FarmMind, and literally spoke into my phone the rates that I wanted to use. It saved that into a field note, which I can later turn into documentation to send to the grower for him to make that application.
Yeah, and I mean, how long did all that take?
I don't know, like maybe 8 seconds total.
And so, can you walk through what you used to have to do before you had this application to use?
Yeah, so every agronomist is different in the system that they use. Some use paper maps and they will write it down and then maybe text the farmer later. Most do have digitized maps, but they will still use those digitized maps to then text the farmer. So this, I can compile a farmer's, let's say they have 100 fields, I can compile them in a minute and send them 100 fields worth of notes in maybe 2 minutes or less.
And how long would that have taken beforehand?
It might have taken, for all of your growers combined, this system might take you 40 minutes for 30 growers. Used to, it would take you 2 to 3 hours a day.
So from 2 to 3 hours to 2 to 3 minutes.
Everybody's different depending on scale. But yes.
Awesome. And so as you're out here, been using it, you've been obviously the longest beta tester as the co-founder of this. You've used it the most out of anyone. I want to just go over maybe a couple other uses. So like I know one is photo identification. What's been your experience working with its ability to identify plants, insects, and fungus out in the field?
Yeah, so primarily what I use it for is in early season when I'm scouting weeds. I love how it tells you multiple different kind of like confidence levels. And it really, like you could choose which one that best matches your description. And then 99% of the time, it's correct. As far as like other systems, when it comes to grasses, it doesn't work. Our system really, like it's able to get accurately on a lot of the grass type weeds.
And it's interesting what you said, how like a lot of other applications, you'll take a picture and you'll just say it's this, but it won't tell you how confident it is, and it won't give you other options to choose from.
No.
You know, since you're already an expert, you're able to say, oh, well, if here's the top 5, right? Even if it's not number 1, I can see number 2, that's it, and it still helps you get to the correct answer.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
And can you maybe, what use have you gotten of the chat feature? I know that's kind of where the entire company started as a research lab around AI and how AI could help agriculture. Well, what's some of the main ways that you're using that AI that knows all of this awesome stuff about agriculture in your daily practice as a consultant?
Yeah, so again, used to, if you didn't know if something was labeled or not, you would have to either research the documentation or you would call somebody that has more knowledge on this than you. Now with one simple question and a little send button, you can get everything that's labeled on whatever chemical, or you can just ask it if what is labeled for this pest in this crop, and you get the rates for it, and it just like makes it entirely easier, and it saves you a ton of time in your day-to-day life as an agronomist.
Do you have an example of like the last time that was useful?
Yeah, we just found delphacets in rice.
Yeah.
And we have never dealt with this. It's a brand new pest in our area. We needed to find out what was labeled. Well, in our rice production, crawfish production is also what we use in rice, or what we have in rice. Nothing is labeled, by the way, for delphacets, which is, it was clarified with experts in Texas where they use or have delphacets in there. But yeah, that was one of the.
And so what was it able to help with in that?
It was able to help with really just saying like there's no product that can be used for this right now. Instead of going to searching through 20 products, seeing if it can be used.
Right, beforehand you would have had to go through all these products you think it might be just to come to the conclusion that there's nothing out there.
Yeah.
Whereas this time you just asked,
there's no
what can I use for this? And it said, there's nothing out there.
Yeah, there's no chemistries currently available that is labeled for delphacets in crawfish production.
So it basically is taking all the expertise that you already have and just allowing you to work more efficiently, more effectively, and ultimately make more money in your practice, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, appreciate it.
Thank you.
FarmSmarter.ai was the seed of a much larger idea. And now the agricultural intelligence engine we built is powering one of the most powerful agricultural management platforms that is available for agricultural professionals to use everywhere. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions. You can email support@farmsmart.ai. If you have any questions about that, please reach out. And we encourage you to get on, use the platform, and let us know where you want to see it be improved. We've come a very long way from the initial chatbot to this all-inclusive platform, and I am really looking forward to how much further this platform is going to go, even in the next 6 months, and it's going to go even further with your feedback. So we look forward to working with growers, agricultural consultants, and more to continue making this the best platform for agricultural professionals. And we hope that all of these different features, at the end of the day, save you time, save you money, and help everyone farm smarter.